Urban legends, stories whispered around campfires and passed down from generation to generation that spark fear in the hearts and minds of children and adults. From the infamous Boy Scout Lane to the mysterious Witch's Triangle, these stories have been passed down through generations. While some legends are well known, others, often isolated accounts, told only to friends and family. Either way, these urban legends give the Dairy State region a dark mystique that beckons to be explored. Boy Scout Lane is an isolated road located in Linwood, Wisconsin. According to legends, the street gets its name from a tragedy that happened decades ago. The stories vary from person to person, but most agree it took place sometime in the 1950s. This stretch is reported to have been named in the memory of a Boy Scout troop who all died in a tragic accident. There are numerous versions of the story. The main legend states that a troop of Boy Scouts went camping at a spot along the road. Tragically, every boy was murdered while they slept by their scoutmaster. Other variations say it was the bus driver who killed them. Another story says a small group of scouts left their camp during the night, and one of them accidentally dropped the lantern, igniting a forest fire that killed the whole troop. Another part to the legend says that two boys escaped and went to find help, but they got lost in the woods and died of starvation and exposure. Regardless, a whole troop of Boy Scouts disappearing without a trace never to be found, that's just creepy. Legends also state that the scoutmaster or bus driver hung himself after the incident on a tree by the road. It is said that his spirit still lurks the woods. The spirits of the boys who tragically lost their lives are said to haunt the area as well. Reports say that you can still hear them hiking in the woods and sometimes see their lights. Visitors have reported a strong sense of being watched, unusual red and white lights described as swinging lanterns. Sightings of ghostly buses or figures have also been reported, and even childlike handprints on cars that have stopped along the road. A bridge on Highway 66 that crosses over Plover River in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, is said to be haunted by a bloody bride. According to local legends, a young bride was killed in a car accident on her wedding night here. One report comes from a police officer who was driving across the bridge when a woman dressed in a wedding gown appeared in his headlights. The police officer tried to stop, but he reported that he thought he'd hit her. Getting out to investigate, he found nothing. When he got back into his car, the bride was sitting in the back seat, staring into his rearview mirror, and then just vanished. Legends say that if you drive down Bloody Bride Bridge Road at night, you may see her gruesome spirit along the side of the road, her white dress stained red. If you dare stop your car on the bridge at midnight, you may see the spirit of the bride and the groom sitting in your back seat, just staring into your rearview mirror. There's also a path you can walk safely onto the bridge. There you can see several rocks stacked upon each other in ways you can't logically explain. In Siren, Wisconsin, a family suffered a tragic accident, and locals claim they have been hearing from the family ever since. During a blizzard sometime in the 1980s, a family was driving down the road across the bridge when suddenly their car skidded off the bridge and overturned into the swampy marsh, trapping them all inside where they drowned. Reports from many people claim that when you drive over the bridge with your radio on, whatever you are listening to stops, and a voice of a little girl comes across the radio saying, "Help me, Mommy, I can't get out." Once across the bridge, the radio would return back to the station they were listening to. Now reminiscent of medieval castle ruins, the Belle Caves Hotel was originally a therapeutic hotel and spa. Its proximity to the natural springs and railroad that passed through the area made the hotel a popular rest spot for travelers in the early 1900s. Notorious gangsters and bootleggers like John Dillinger and Al Capone are said to have been included on the guest list. Even though a popular location, the hotel began to go under about 1915, and eventually the owner of a local construction company bought it in 1931. The new owner and his family lived there until his death and the mysterious death of his daughter. The hotel reopened but saw very little success, but gained a reputation of being haunted by angry spirits. In 1985, under mysterious circumstances, the building caught fire and was reduced to its limestone bones. Reports from the ruins include sightings of figures standing in open windows, strange noises such as disembodied voices and screams from the basement, phantom footsteps, ringing bells, rolling wheels, and things that move on their own upstairs. There's also said to be the odor of sewer gas smelt in all of the bathrooms. And on the third floor, people have reported feeling cold hands pressing on their backs. Apparitions have also been reported on the front lawn and sitting alongside the road, and even the ghost of a little boy who died in the bottling factory has been seen playing on the roof. There has also been reports of blood seen on the walls. If you shine your flashlight in the second-story window, a ghost is said to flash a light back at you. One of the most popular haunts in La Crosse, Wisconsin, has a reputation not only for stocking 400 beer varieties, but for its resident ghost. Paul Malin owned and operated the Malin Pool and Sample Room from the 1890s until his untimely death in 1901. After his death, the building changed owners many times over the next 5 years, and no one could understand why until 1907. The owner, a popular German immigrant, A.J. Skimmer Hein, told his friends he was selling the building, stating it was haunted by Malin's ghost. He said the ghost would appear to him every night and wouldn't let him sleep because he was running amok and making strange noises. Reports of the hauntings today from owners and employees include unexplainable noises, slamming doors, objects moving by themselves, and even Malin's ghost. The town of Baraboo, Wisconsin is most known for Devil's Lake State Park and its connection to the Ringling Brothers. It's a cute, charming little town with all of its circus-related activities, but all might not be as peaceful as it seems. There is a stretch of Highway 12 through Baraboo on which many people have reported an unexplained phenomenon. For years, there have been reports of a vanishing hitchhiker walking along the highway just a few miles outside of town. The man is always seen wearing a blue jean and a green army jacket. People report that while driving, they see the man along the side of the road and slow down, but they don't pick him up. About 10 miles further down the highway, they see the same exact guy wearing the same exact thing walking along the road again, as if he mysteriously transported himself ahead of passing vehicles. High Cliff State Park is home to Lake Winnebago, a popular place where people enjoy fishing and other outdoor activities. It is also home to the Lake Winnebago water monster, a gigantic fish said to swallow moose whole. The legend has its roots in the Winnebago tribe, which had a village along the shores of the lake. Stories from the tribe describe a large, freakish fish that would wade along the canal into Fox River, snatching up deer, elk, and moose who stopped at the edge of the water. The creature would eat these animals, horns, hooves, and all. None of the Winnebago tribe would ever cross the channel or swim anywhere near for fear of the monster. This went on for many years until one day some men saw a dark form floating in the water. Apparently it was the monster. When they brought it to shore, they found the cause of death to be antlers. It seems that the monster's prey had its revenge after all. Cemeteries are often a source of tall tales and legends, thanks to their ties to death and the afterlife. No one really knows what happens when we die, but many people believe the veil between the living and the dead is thinner at a cemetery. According to local legends, there was a barn that sat adjacent to the Pioneer Rest Cemetery that seems to be the center of some legends. Legends say that a man murdered his family and then killed himself in the barn. Because of this, there have been many reports of satanic worships taking place in the barn. Other stories about the cemetery say that one night, two boys were playing a game of tag in the graveyard when a hand reached up from a grave and grabbed one of the boys by the ankle, causing him to die of fright. The body of the other boy was found outside of the graveyard. The cause of death was unknown. Reports claim that you can hear disembodied voices and screams and see various apparitions roaming the grounds. Kate Blood was an early settler in Appleton, Wisconsin, who has various legends tied to her. Some stories claim that she murdered her husband, but according to her tombstone, he outlived her. Other stories claim that she killed her 3 children, and yet others claim she was a witch that ate children she caught playing in the woods. Regardless of which story you believe, there are no doubts the entire cemetery is haunted. People have reported seeing children running through the grounds by the river at night, hearing disembodied voices, and some have reported they have been pushed or touched by something unseen. Reports also claim that if you visit the cemetery on a full moon and go to Kate Blood's tombstone, it will drip with blood and her apparition will appear. What many people know about Whitewater is the fine universities, great parks, and the old neighborhoods of the northwest corner of Walworth County, Wisconsin. But many don't know what lurks in the shadows there. There have been many legends of witchcraft in Whitewater, so much that it has become known as the Second Salem. There is an old stone water tower in Starren Park that is the center of these legends. Locals believe that witches are buried there and rituals are still carried out. But there are 3 cemeteries that form the Witches' Triangle around the tower: Calvary, Oak, and Hillside. It is believed that within the triangle, all the lands and buildings are haunted, and this is where the area's most disturbing historical legends reside. The Horn family moved to Whitewater in the 1880s, and within 4 years they were all dead. The mother and father died first, leaving most of their money to their youngest daughter, Annie, which angered their oldest daughter, Nellie. It wasn't long and Annie died as well. Because of the mysterious circumstances around the family's untimely death, an autopsy and chemical analysis was done on Annie, which revealed strychnine in her stomach. With Nellie's murderous secrets unraveling, she decided death was better than to face the consequences. She took the remaining poison and on her deathbed confessed to the murder of her family, as well as another victim still unidentified. Nellie Horan is buried in the Calvary Cemetery along with the legendary axe murderer and self-professed witch Mary Worth, who many believe cursed the town. In 1888, Morris Pratt established an institute in Whitewater dedicated to the study of spiritualism. In the institute, there was a hall named the White Room, where seances were conducted, nicknamed the Spook Temple by locals. The institute closed down in the 1930s and became a boarding house until it was demolished in the 1960s. Some of the legends attached to the Witch's Triangle include the Star and Park Tower that is encircled with barbed wire fence with the spikes facing inward. It is believed that rituals are still held here and that evil forces are lured to this place. The axe murderer, Mary Worth, is buried at Calvary Cemetery, also has a legend attached to her. It is told that if you stand in front of a mirror at midnight and say her name 3 times, she will kill the summoner in an extremely violent way. There is also the legend of the Witch's Book, which makes the tales of Whitewater even creepier. It is rumored that the book was written by the witches of Whitewater, and if read would result in a nasty death by suicide, or you would go completely insane. There are believed to be at least 4 student suicides connected to the turning of the pages. The book is said to be housed and protected under lock and key in the basement of the University of Wisconsin Whitewater Library.